a personal commitment. So thank you all for joining us for what is the last PAC meeting of the school year. We do have a full agenda. We have announcements of our new PAC executive board and then updates from our executive board and committee chairs, updates from our staff, and some highlights for the current school year. And at the end, we'll again have our Q&A session. But just as a reminder, the purpose of this meeting is to give you an update on what the PAC has worked on and is continuing to work on this school year. We will not be covering topics of repopulation for the fall during this meeting. We did have a town hall where the panelists answered questions regarding those topics, and we will be sharing answers to those questions that were submitted in a Q&A document to be sent out in the coming weeks. Again, my name is Kathy Williams. This is my last PAC meeting, and I'd like to just say it's been a pleasure working with this exec board. And under the leadership of Maria and the PAC, that we've gotten so much accomplished this year, and especially under these extraordinary circumstances. It's been a pleasure working with this exec team and the leadership team. And I have no doubt that I've made friends for a long term. So I encourage any parents out there to volunteer to be on this board. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done. So your being able to volunteer on some of these committees would be very helpful. And just on a personal note, as a parent, I'd like to thank the administration for what they've done, especially in the area of equity and inclusion. And I'm grateful for my daughter's experience at IMSA, which was achieved through a combination of hard work from the administration.
Kathy, you're muted.
Okay, was I muted that whole time?
Just for the last like 10 seconds, sir.
Okay. Again, I just wanted to say this is my last PAC meeting, and again, it's been a pleasure to work with the executive board. And under the leadership of Maria and the PAC, we've gotten so much accomplished this year. And on a personal note,
Kathy, you're back muted.
Am I muted? It doesn't show that I'm muted.
You're okay right now.
We
You're
can hear
okay.
you, Kathy.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, not sure where I left off, but again, I'm just at the end, I just wanted to thank the administration for all the work that they've done, and my daughter's experience with IMSA was achieved through a combination of hard work from the administration, from the teachers, from the CAC and the RCs and the entire IMSA family. So again, I encourage you to volunteer to be on the PAC committee. It's been a great experience. With that being said, I would like to start with the, Maria, you can move to the next slide. So I'd like to start with Maria to give updates on from the executive board. Maria.
Okay, again, thank you everybody for joining us for our last PAC meeting of the school year. As Kathy had pointed out, we have accomplished a lot as a PAC this school year with everything that has been ever changing. So just wanted to share some of the highlights of what we've accomplished this year. So first off, we hosted a PAC information session for parents of incoming sophomores in the summer of 2020. One of the things that we were able to do this year was support student council's Enduro Coffee fundraiser by purchasing the coffee scoops and cookies for their fundraiser. So one of the things that student council usually does is have a homecoming fundraiser, which helps to fund some of the programming and things like that for the year. And since they weren't able to have that this year, this was their ability to raise some money. So we were glad to be able to help provide some of that so more money could go back to them. Also, the first ever PAC cookbook was produced with contributions from parents, guardians, staff, faculty, and others. It was really a team effort and it just came together beautifully. So the link is still out there if you are interested in downloading that cookbook, but we can't thank everyone enough for pitching in and producing such a great thing that'll be treasured by many for many years to come. And also the highlights per committee will be shared in their updates. And again, thanking everyone who's been involved, all the volunteers it took to accomplish all of these things this year. Also, two parent representatives, myself and Kyle, are on the Return to Learning and Working Committee. And part of that is that we have the opportunity to work with a parent subcommittee to provide feedback and also to keep them informed of some of the things that are being discussed in that committee. So we do encourage any parents of juniors and current sophomores and juniors to take part in that with us. We do have meetings every Thursday evening with that parent subcommittee. So reach out to us and we'll be glad to give you that information. And also, most recently, we hosted and moderated a town hall featuring IMSA representatives. So we also wanted to thank the representatives from IMSA who have joined us at these monthly PAC meetings and for taking the time out of their schedules to provide us with updates in their respective areas. So those representatives that have joined us this year include from the principal's office, Dr. Comfort Akwaji Anderson and Bill Gasick. From the Student Life Office, Katie Berger, Dana Gannett, and Brittany Walker. From faculty, we've had Dr. Michael Hancock and today Brooke Schmidt. And from the CAC office, we have Yulia Hewson. And from the RCs, we've had Mia and Raphael. And from Studco, we've had Pranav Manoj. And from CAB, we have Jalen Abdullah. We've appreciated being able to offer more updates in the various areas so that parents can be more aware of what's been going on, not just in the PAC, but also throughout the academy. So we hope to continue with those partnerships in the future. And again, parents, if there are areas of the academy that you'd like to hear from, please reach out to us because we'll be glad to also reach out and find out if there's availability for them to join us in future PAC meetings. So also with that, we also have featured a speaker series, usually monthly. Obviously with parent days, we don't have it. And in April, we did not, but some of the speaker series that we have had this past year in October, how to help your kids in the distance learning environment. Speakers for that were Paul Gasick, Aaron Miklo, and Evan Brummett. In November, we had ways students can get involved at IMSA, and that was Brittany Walker as a speaker. In December, it was Makerspace Opportunities, and the speaker was Grant Bell. And then in January, we had resources to help with students' mental health wellness. And the speakers for that were Kevin Cusey, Keisha Rhymes, and Susan Lee. And then in March, we had assisting students with focus and motivation during remote learning. The speaker was Susie Lee. So again, we really try to encourage for those speaker series, things that are top of mind for parents. So if you do have any type of topics you would like us to cover in future speaker series, please again, reach out to us, let us know. We'll be glad to find the appropriate speakers to speak on those topics. And then this past Tuesday, again, we had a town hall. And in the email with this reminder for the meeting, we also had a link to the recording. So we'd like to thank the participants of that town hall, which was Mr. Len Himes, the legal counsel to IMSA's Board of Trustees. We also had Dr. Aaron Roach, who is an alum of IMSA and the IMSA Board of Trustees chairman. We had Dr. Storm Robinson, who is the interim president, Ms. Tracy Ellis, who's the chief equity officer at IMSA, and Dr. Comfort Akwaji Anderson, the principal and chief academic officer, as well as Ms. Katie Berger, the chief student affairs officer. So as Kathy had mentioned, we have sent over the questions that were not answered at the town hall that were submitted by parents either prior to the town hall or during the town hall. And we will be publishing and sharing a document of the Q&A once we have received the responses from the participants. And for me, I'd like to thank the executive board this year. I really had the pleasure of working with this fantastic board through the ups and downs of this year. The fact that they've been very committed in working on behalf of all the entities, the families of IMSA, as well as administration and the other parts of IMSA to help really keep the connection between all has been amazing. So again, thank you very much to this year's executive board, Vice President Kathy Williams, Treasurer Alex Williams, Secretary Kyle Blay, Member at Large Alderman Antarola, and the sophomore parent representative Katerina Kazukas. So again, thank you very much for all of your help this year. And also our wonderful committee chairs, because obviously without the committee chairs, we wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things that we do throughout the year. So a special thank you to all of them because they have learned how to pivot some of the normal programming to fit in the distance learning environment. And we've still been able to accomplish a lot. So thank you to all of them. Academic chairs this year were Moju, Gabriella, and Kathleen. Student Life was Audrey and Maria Drips Paulson. Friday Fest was Robin, Gabriella, and Missy. Hospitality, Danica and Svetlana. Transportation, Abhijit and Jill. Senior Banquet, Brittany Walker and Kathy. And Technology was Guy, Jose, and Jim. And again, thank you to all of the committee chairs and a very special thank you to all of the parents of seniors this year who have worked as a committee chair, but also as volunteers. We wish you the very best for you and your graduating students. And again, thank you for your service to the PAC. And we do invite you to still stay in touch in way of being an alum parent. Come on in, we'll always welcome you back with open arms. So again, just a very big thank you to all of you, to all of the many volunteers who've helped put on the programs and events this school year through the PAC. We really could not have done it without you, and we appreciate each one of you. So for those returning families, we do invite you to continue to be an active part of PAC. There are many ways to get involved. So there'll be more information on that in some upcoming slides, but again, we look forward to seeing you in the upcoming school year. So I will toss it back to you, Kathy.
All right, thank you, Maria. I hope you can stay throughout the meeting. Again, I just want to give a quick update on a couple of things. The Senior Banquet Committee has been hard at work, and I'm going to turn that at some point over to Brittany Walker to give an update. She's done an incredible job of pulling together, again, this event, and she has some good updates for us later in the meeting. Also, just want to mention that we've got a coordinator now for the regional reps, Missy Graff. I'm pleased to announce that she will be the coordinator. We'll have some discussion from her later in this slide as well. But both the regional reps, senior bank committees have been hard at work trying to continue to make both events and both committees run well and smooth, and I appreciate all their help. Next slide. Next, we'll have Alex Williams give us an update from the treasurer.
Okay, good morning. Quick sound check. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So if you move to the next slide, I'm going to share a little bit different view than what you normally see for my monthly update. So first, let's start on the right-hand side. I always share the current account balances. We have 3 accounts. But what you'll notice on the right side of the slide is we have opened up a new savings account to which we funded with our reserve balances. And so that account now is funded with $23,000. And I'll talk a little bit about the funding for the reserves have come out of our main account and our bus account, some reserve that we had on hand. If you move to the left, you'll recall that for our bus account and our senior banquet account, those 2 accounts are self-funding, meaning we generate the income based off the services needed. So of course, so far we haven't had a need for the bus services. So there were no actual expenses yet. You're going to hear a little bit later about the senior banquet. So to date, though, we haven't had any expenses, but activity there will be ramping up. So for our main account, all of these accounts show what we have budgeted for the year and what we have spent to date. So of course, our activity has happened in our main account. We had budgeted $14,400 in expenditures for the 2020-2021 year. And we have had expenses of just under $7,200. Those expenses have come from the teacher appreciation gifts. We also had some Friday Fest expenditures. Pi Day and some smaller expenses from the academic committee. There are likely a few more trickling in that will pay out, but to date, from July of 2020 to the current, we have spent just about half of what we've budgeted for in the main account, with some expenses pending to be paid here. So that's what that view is. Down at the bottom, again, what I want to reiterate that we opened up the savings account, and that funding came from reserves that we had on hand from our main account and from our bus account. And then no services were rendered yet for those for the bus account or the senior banquet. Those senior banquet, we're going to have some upcoming expenses, and you'll hear more about that in a moment here. So I'll pause there and see if there are any questions, or feel free to use the chat as well.
Any questions so far? Again, we'll have questions at the end as well.
I have a
Thank you.
question. Can I ask a question? It's Heather.
Yes, Heather. Yes.
When are the final payments going out for Friday Fest expenses and things? Like, do you have a final date anticipated for that?
So are you referring to expenses that have been submitted?
Yes,
Okay. Do you have one outstanding, Heather?
I do.
Okay. So can I get with you to make sure that's resolved quickly here?
Oh, sure. I just didn't know if you had a final date to close out the books in case. I don't assume I'm the only one ever for anything, so that's just why I asked on the final date.
So Heather, if you don't mind dropping your email in IM, and I'll make sure I follow up with you. And for any other, if
Cool.
there's any other outstanding reimbursements that anyone is looking for, if you can please drop your email address in the IM, and I'll make sure I follow up on those.
So Alex, we do have a question in the chat. Someone was asking if there are plans to reduce costs for next year with any reserves. I don't know if you would answer that, or who would want to answer that question.
Yeah, well, I'll start. So a couple things with the reserve accounts. So, for our main account, we receive funding in 2 installments from IMSA as an organization that provides our seed money, if you will. And so we always like to have some monies on hand just in case there is a year where IMSA can no longer provide that funding. So we have a plan to have some reserve for that account. Similarly, for the bus account, we do like to have a reserve on hand to contract those services in advance while we're waiting for funds to come in for parents who pay for that for those services. And so we like to have essentially a year worth of operating expenses, which is why those reserves are high right now. What we hope, as we allowed some extra expenses to leverage some of those funds this year, and we expect as things get back to normal, we will have a little bit larger budget for next academic year. But just keep in mind, for bus services and senior banquets, still, we offset some expenses, but we those are actual expenses incurred. So if we don't use the services, we don't collect money for them, and so on. So we do have a plan to have some money on hand to operate.
Just to add on to what Alex said, another example of that would be a senior banquet. Typically, we have to contract in September for a facility, which usually means putting down a deposit of, I believe, around $5,000, even though parents don't pay until the spring. So again, another reason why we typically need some sort of reserves carried over from year to year.
Are there any more questions?
I have a quick question. Is it possible to dip into any of the main PAC funds during the summer? If any of the committees do things to try to sort of get the kids together, can they submit for any of those expenses if they're by region or by some other sort of committee?
Yeah, so what we've asked the different committees to do is if they if they have a event or something they want to execute, we've asked them to submit a budget of expenses, and we will certainly look at that. We do know that some activities were not able to be executed that we planned for. So we're very open to, we have line items for various activities, and if a committee has something new they want to explore, if they submit a budget of expenses, we'll vote on it as a board to move forward. So that could be sent to the imsapac@gmail, or to your whomever is representing the committee, and then we will evaluate it at that time.
Thank you, Alex.
Another question in the chat was asking about which account the senior gift comes from.
So
The senior gift comes from, I'll tell you in 1 second, that does come from our main account. We have a senior gift line item under our reoccurring expenses.
And just to build on that, in a typical year, the senior gift does come out of the senior banquet. Because this, last year there was no senior banquet because it was canceled. So we paid for that out of the main fund. And knowing that this was going to be an uncertain year, the executive committee decided at the beginning of this year to fund that out of the main fund to make sure that that would happen no matter what. And that has allowed, as a result, we've been able to keep, I believe that helped us reduce the amount we would have otherwise had to charge for the senior banquet for those participants this year.
That's correct,
Kathy?
That's correct.
So I will monitor the IM for additional questions and capture any email addresses if there's any pending reimbursements, but we can move on. Kathy.
Okay. Next we have Aldwin. Aldwin, do you have any updates for us?
I don't have any updates except to say that I'm trying to get my video on, but it doesn't work. There it is. This is going to be my last PAC meeting. I'm outgoing member at large. I'd like to say that it's been a real privilege to serve along with the executive board. Maria, Kathy, Kyle, Alex, and Kat are all very nice to work with. I'm an outgoing senior parent, but I have another one as well here at IMSA, so I'm still around. It's bittersweet, but yes, all I can say is people don't see what's happening at the background. These are volunteers who I admire for their dedication, and it's great working with PAC. And the next member at large, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say it, but I'll let somebody else say who the next member at large is when we go to the, to announce the elections and things like that. So yeah, thank you, PAC.
Thank you, Aldwin. We will be announcing those shortly. Next slide. Next, we'll have the sophomorette, Kat. Are you on, Kat?
I am. Sorry, I was trying to unmute. Good morning, everybody. Thank you again for giving me a chance to speak, and thank you for attending this morning's meeting. It's been definitely a different kind of year. I think it would have been regardless, considering that the sophomore parents or the rising juniors are definitely in a new environment. I have to keep telling myself, as do most of us, that they are no longer sophomores. They are shortly going to be rising seniors or juniors. So we're calling them the class of 2023. And recently, the thing that I really want to update everybody about is we started doing these weekly meetings on Wednesday evenings at 7:30 earlier last month. The goal being to try to figure out how to connect the students and the parents with whatever 5 months we have left before the September or August return to school date begins. And we've made some progress. Those conversations have included parents that have really brought some things to the table that involve repopulation, the concerns about what had happened with the fact that the repopulation had not happened. But in light of all that, to try to do what we could to bring our kids together. So far, that's also included a couple of meetings with Brittany Walker, who's been really seminal to try to work with us and administration to try to make some things happen on campus. They're still in the works, but we're optimistic that at least moving forward, we're trying to figure out a way to connect on campus, possibly have some sort of like camp out or some event that would be on campus, not in the buildings. And it would definitely would include the parents and the students for that. We're also looking at celebrating the June, July, and August birthdays for parents that can attend to celebrate their students. And then we're looking at doing things in two ways, either connecting in the city and having a variety of events in the summer that hit on different kinds of interests that kids have, whether they're athletic or cultural or musical, or some other things that are going to be sort of in the city. And then we're looking to also do it in the communities in the different regions. So stay tuned for that. The one thing that I am actually going to ask is that people, if you can send me an email to the IMSA Sophomore Parent PAC Gmail with your email addresses, so that I can continue to basically keep in touch with you during the summer and then send out those sorts of events as they start to happen.
Great. Any questions? Thank you, Kat. Next, we'll have Kyle, our secretary. Kyle.
Hi there. Let's see, as secretary, I don't really have anything new to add, but if we go into the next slide, I can just go ahead and talk about we did finish the executive board election for the 2021-2022 school year. And up here, we get the slide of who will be in the positions on the executive board so far. So as you can see that Maria Ramos will be remaining on as our president. For the upcoming year, we will have a new vice president, Heather. I'm sorry, I'm not really good at names. Cianciolo. I'm sorry if I said that wrong.
That's the Spanish version.
What would be the correct? Was I correct, or was there?
I take it either. That's really good. Cianciolo is how we pronounce it, the Italian side.
Cianciolo. Okay,
but we
there
take
we
that
go.
too. We don't take chinchilla or canicola or. Yeah.
So Heather will be our vice president. Alex Williams will be remaining on as treasurer. I will be remaining on as secretary, and the current or outgoing exec board did meet and choose that Katerina Kazukas would be coming on as our at-large member for next year. And of course, we will not know the sophomore rep for a few more months, for at least another couple months, because the sophomores have not been finalized and we haven't had a chance to meet with them. But the incoming executive board will be working on making that decision over the course of this summer. So I would welcome any of the next year's executive board members to speak up or say something. I'm already here, so hi. I've enjoyed being here this year. I enjoyed last year when I was the sophomore rep. Looking forward to staying on as secretary and continuing to work with the executive board next year. If any of the other members, especially Heather, since she hasn't had a chance to speak yet, if you'd like to say a few words, that would be fantastic.
I'm just really excited to be part of this. I've talked to you, I've talked to Maria. I'm looking forward to talking to Kathy and getting her update. I've served on a lot of boards, both parent boards and professional boards, and done work on one where we had 13 states, sorry, with members across all the states, and it was really hard to get everyone involved. So I think there's an opportunity here to get a lot more of our parents speaking up and included that we haven't had before. And most of that is because we've got Zoom. And I think this year with you guys, you really did a great job of setting up this platform where we can connect with each other more easily, and people are used to it now. So I think that it's going to be easier for all of us, and I'm looking forward to it.
Great. Well, congratulations again to the new 2021-22 exec board. And I'd also like to just real quick remind those that are coming in after the initial announcement that this meeting is being recorded. So next we'll have some committee updates. So let's hear from the academic committee, Muju, Gabriella, and Kathleen O'Hara.
Hi, good morning. This is Moju. I'll be walking us through the slides for today. I also wanted to take this opportunity to thank all the volunteers, particularly my co-chairs, Kathleen and Gabriella, for all the effort and the time they put into this year work for this committee. I couldn't do it, couldn't have done it without them. So thank you very much. So next slide, we brought some information from helping the students going forward, finishing the school year strong. Just wanted to let the parents know that the peer tutors and writing center tutors, they all updated their schedules, and their schedules have been communicated with the students so they know uh, what help is out there for them. In addition to that, there were some review sessions that were scheduled for on the I days and office hours. And in addition, Dr. Smith is hosting a review session for the Constitution exam. And there were some SI chemistry sessions that were hosted by the peer tutors. And then moving on to the next slide, there's the Writing Center Zoom hours that's posted. The students have access to that. On Wednesday, May 19th, MI3 tutors will be hosting a review sessions from 8 to 10 p.m. The students can get the information on Canvas on that Constitution review test. Review is on Wednesday the 26th. And also that whole, almost the whole week from Monday to Thursday, 24th to 27th, the IMSA alumni are holding study sessions from 5 to 7. In addition to all of this, my junior student pointed out that all the sophomores have direct access to at least 13 upperclassmen in terms of the their 2 English classes and the American Study class that they've taken until now. Each one of those class has at least 4 tutors that sits through those classes, alternatively beginning and ending of the or first part and second part of the week, that the sophomores could directly reach out to them, not only just for those topics, for any of the topics, because upperclassmen have taken those classes. So they should be able to help them out if they need help. And in addition, they have, that's 12 tutors. In addition, they have access to their Big Sib. They could always get help from them. And if none of that works, they can always call my daughter and she'll help them out. Moving on to the next slide, we have, I put out the final exam schedule, which is on the website for IMSA, and there's the link for it in case parents want to know about the final schedule. And then going on again to the next slide would be just mentioning that there is a strategy team that meets on IMSA side on a weekly basis, making sure they check on students, making sure they discuss students, that if they're struggling, making sure they have enough help, because there's a lot of work, especially for sophomores. Amy Keck is overseeing all of the help that is provided for them, making sure they finish this year strong. But we also wanted to encourage the parents to, or ask the parents to encourage their students to keep their cameras on and making sure they're continue staying engaged. It's been a long year for all of us, and especially for the students, been a very challenging year for everybody. Just to make sure that, you know, they keep engaged. Keeping their cameras on is not mandatory. It's up to the teachers, and they have been trying to make it not mandatory for the students, but they're encouraging them. It would be nice if the parents could also encourage them to, you know, stay engaged, and then keeping the school year strong or ending it strong for them. Then we also, on the next slide, wanted to talk about kind of an overview of what our committee is about. We wanted to talk about how we communicate with the administration on a monthly basis about the general academic concerns. If a parent have a issue concerning their own student, if it's one student case, we encourage them to work directly with the administration and the faculty. But if it's more of a concern of a bigger group, we'll bring it up to the principal's office. We meet with her, with Dr. Akwaji Anderson and her administrative assistant on a monthly basis, and we discuss the issues that we hear from parents, and we either have the meeting, we have a preparation meeting prior to our meeting with her, and then issues that mostly we hear on Facebook page, and other parents reach out directly, and we'll bring those up. As an example of the topics we talked about, the next slide we'll talk about, these are the high level topics that we discussed with her, with them. So either we're directly a part of these slides we'll bring back and we'll bring you the information, or somehow it worked its way through their planning and background for what they do for the students. Wanted to also thank Dr. Akwaji Anderson for giving us that opportunity. I think it's been very helpful for us to be able to bring these concerns to her directly. And with her busy schedule, she's been able to give us that monthly time, and that's very appreciated. And then at the bottom, I just put our contact email. If anybody has any concerns, they could always email us directly into that IMSA-PAC Academic Committee at Gmail. And thanks again for this opportunity. I look forward for the next year, and everybody, I hope you have a great end of the year and a wonderful summer ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Muju. Any questions? Okay, we'll move to the next committee, the Hospitality Committee. We have the co-chairs. I'm sorry, I can never pronounce the name. Who's speaking from the Hospitality Committee today? Well, maybe
I'm not sure if either of them are on today, may be
Okay.
on today, but the big news from the Hospitality Committee, I did work with them a little bit, was that they were, obviously couldn't do a lot on campus this year. One thing they did do was work on Teacher Appreciation Week, which again had to be remote because of the nature of this year. They basically followed the pattern that we did last year, which was sending out Amazon gift cards to teachers, RCs, and additional staff members. Those are $20 gift cards, so the total they spent was $2,180. I know the IMSA-PAC has received a lot of thank yous from those who received the gift cards, and we will be continuing to follow up just to make sure that all those gift cards have been received and activated, because that's the one danger with electronic gift card, is they can sometimes get overlooked. But we were able to track that and send that on, and can follow up and make sure that people are able to use those.
Great, thank you, Kyle. Next, we'll have the Student Life Committee. Who's speaking on behalf of the Student Life Committee? Audrey?
I'm speaking on behalf
Maria.
of the Student Life Committee. Hi, everyone. It's our last meeting, both Audrey and myself. We are outgoing senior parents of these lovely gentlemen you see before you. Not the dog, he's just cute. Anyway, we would like to send our best wishes to those of you who are returning next year and continuing on, because it will be fantastic with the new leadership that is before you. And we also would like to thank you for the opportunity. It's been an honor to serve. We have enjoyed meeting as many people as we have, working with Dana and Katie at the Academy, and the fantastic RCs that support our students in everything they do. So it has been a wonderful, wonderful time. If you'll go to the next slide, I just made a really fun graphic to show you, that hopefully will pop up. There we go. How we love our wing parents. And these are many of the things that they sent out in this most interesting year, because they are the coolest parents. Packages to your homes, gift cards, thoughts, cards, socks, notes, lovely poems. They really just did the best they could doing supportive things for your students and wanting to reach as many as they could. So in the next slide, you will see the fantastic and amazing list of 49, I believe, parents. So if you'll go to that next slide, I'm not going to read all those names because they are all amazing. And I'm just going to give you a second to look at all of them and be grateful for the thoughts that they had and the gifts that they gave and the correspondence that they did. They are truly IMSA's coolest parents because they wanted to be on hand and upfront with all of you. And they have just been a joy to work with. And having said that, we also want to thank the committees who helped us with the cookbook, because that was a joint committee with Friday Fest. You'll hear from them as well. I actually didn't create a slide for that, but we celebrated that earlier. So we just wanted to say that was also a fun memory. And if we go to the next slide, I would be very thrilled to introduce to you to the 2021-2022 Student Life Chairs, Ellen and Susan. I'm going to turn it over to Susan real quick so they can both introduce themselves and wish you the very best. So here they are.
Hi, thank you. I'm Susan. My son Liam is a rising junior. We're very excited to be co-chairing the Student Life Committee this year with Ellen. We're looking forward to hopefully a great and fantastic school year with all the kids. I'd really like to thank Maria and Audrey for the wonderful setup and everything they did this year to help organize some sort of normalcy for all the kids. And again, thank all the wing parents out there. Hopefully you guys will all stay with us and we'll have a great year next year.
Yeah, my name is Ellen Hu. I'm parent of James Penn. James is a rising junior at AMSA too. I'm very glad that I have this opportunity to serve the AMSA community. Thank you, everyone. Yes.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Well, thank you, Maria, for that. Congratulations to the new Student and Life Chairs. Next, we'll go to the Friday Fest Committee.
Hi, this is Missy, and I just wanted to quickly say that Robin and Gabriella and myself are outgoing co-chairs, but we, as you can see on the slide, have 3 wonderful co-chairs of what's going to be rising juniors that are going to step in. I know Carrie is moving her older son out of college dorm, so she's not here to introduce herself, but will the other 2 please welcome to you guys and introduce yourselves to everybody, please.
I guess I'll go first. My name is Dominic Cianciolo. Our son Dean is he's going to be junior next year. We're very glad to be here. As is Heather, is the incoming vice president. Looking forward to working with the Friday Fest committee. I've had a lot of experience planning events. As the president of an alumni organization I founded back in Los Angeles, the University of Michigan Entertainment Coalition, where we put on things like panel discussions and dinners and film festivals and that kind of stuff. And then also through various other volunteer things that I've done. I think my biggest event that I ever put on was actually for a personal event was when Heather's grandmother turned 80, and what started out as me cooking dinner for 10 became cooking dinner for 80. And it was quite the thing to put together from a few thousand miles away. So looking forward to having the kids on campus and making and creating some fun for them while they're working hard.
Hi, I'm Melissa. My daughter Ella is a rising junior. My volunteer background, I'm currently a school board member for our local elementary district. And prior to that, I was PTA president and put on a lot of events for the PTA for 600 students in the elementary building. With a lot of help. So I am looking forward to working as a co-chair on this committee and looking forward to all the help from other parents because we didn't get our hands dirty this year with this. So we're going to need all the help we can get for next year. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Melissa. Also, Robin, Gabriella, and I are going to still help. Gabriella and I are going to be on the committee. Robin is a mother of a senior, but she didn't feel like we had proper closure. I think, sorry, I'm speaking for you, Robin, but she's, we're not going to quite let her go, and she's gonna, we're all going to make sure that Dominic and Melissa and Carrie have a really smooth transition. And yes, we want all of the Friday Fest members from last year that stood in the, waited in the wings for us to get back to campus to please still be a part of the organization of Friday Fest, because I know the kids are really looking forward to it. Our poor sophomores don't even know what a wonderful experience this is. So we're looking forward to getting back on campus and hopefully doing Friday Fest like it was of old. Go ahead, Kathy, thanks.
Thank you. Looks like Friday Fest is in good hands. Thank you to the new co-chairs. Next, we'll have the Friday Fest year in review, or we.
Sorry, Missy again. Yeah, so basically just to say, what we did, because we could not have Friday Fest the way it was, big potluck and everything. We just wanted to try to bless the kids, and it was mainly Robin. She was awesome at coordinating, getting these sticker packs and clings out to all the kids. And I know from what we've heard, it was very well received. Hopefully your child put some stickers on their computers, or I know there was a cling on our van. So also supported Pie Day with a McDonald's Arch cards so that they could get a pie or anything else that they wanted from McDonald's. And then just student activities, whether it was for Clash or other events that were going on, just the winners of the wings or the halls would get a gift card. And that's pretty much how we used our budget this year, since we really couldn't have Friday Fests in their traditional form.
Very good. Thank you, Missy.
And then please, if anybody wants to be a part of our committee, we're still looking for more members. If you want to do more than just volunteer, but help call the shots, next Tuesday, 7 o'clock. And I can put my email address in the chat, if you want to reach out to me, or because I don't have the Zoom link. I don't know if somebody can drop it in, but I'll put my email address on it if you want to participate, or if you were a volunteer this year, even though you didn't get to do much, please come to our at least at 7:30 for the appreciation part of it. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, next we have the Senior Banquet Committee. Brittany, would you like to talk about the Senior Banquet update now, or when you're doing the responsibilities of your club? Is Brittany Walker on?
Kathy.
Yes.
Kathy, I know she is driving. She's trying to connect to you, but I don't know exactly what's going on. But I know she's driving.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
Yes, sorry, hello?
Oh, Brittany, great.
Sorry, I can actually talk about it in a minute. My phone is actually charging, and yes, I am driving, so I will let it charge before I disconnect from you all, and I can talk about it later.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll come back to that because there's been a number of great updates, and Brittany's been really working hard, so I'd like to have her discuss these new events that's taking place with the Senior Banquet. Next slide. Transportation Committee. Do we have any updates from the Transportation Committee chairs?
We actually do have an update.
Great. Jill?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jill, and our update is that the Transportation for Senior Week, while not arranged by us on the Transportation Committee, is being arranged by the Student Life Office, and the PAC Executive Committee approved to cover this expense through some of our reserves. So if you'll remember back to Alex's slide, there will be an expense soon coming out of the Transportation Reserve, which will cover bus service for downstate families to get their senior students to and from the campus for Senior Week at no cost to those families. We want to thank all of the families who participated in the downstate bus service and paid into that reserve and is now getting the chance to benefit from it as part of, the service was paid for in the 2019-2020 academic year. So that is really our only update, and we are greatly looking forward. It was kind of a slow committee this year with no students to transport to and from campus. So we're looking forward to a much more active school year coming up, and we'll be recruiting parents to be chaperones at the various stops along the bus routes. And you'll hear more about that closer to the school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Any questions on that? Okay, let's move to the next committee.
Kathy, this is Maria. I hope you don't mind. I accidentally skipped over this slide earlier.
Oh, okay.
But the Multicultural Committee will be a new committee for next year. So we are asking for interested volunteers who would like to be part of the Multicultural Committee, which includes helping to ensure and encourage involvement in PAC by all ethnic and racial groups, supporting the cultural activities led by IMSA student groups, and holding meetings with parents as needed to ensure that their diversity concerns and needs are being heard and addressed. We ask that anybody that's interested, please reach out to us, and we'll be glad to give you more information.
Great, thank you. Next. Technology Committee. Do we have any updates from the Technology Committee?
So Guy is unable to join us today, so I'll go on to the next slide.
Okay. Okay, so this is giving you an update on the IMSA PAC Facebook group. Membership as of May 14th consists of 516 members. That's the Facebook link, and it's moderated by Jim Ramos, Danica Boltis, I'm sorry, I'm probably saying that wrong, and Kyle. Any answers, if there are questions and answers, you'll have to answer questions when we're joining this group, and then the answers will be checked against the IMSA Power School Directory. And the guidelines for the rules of the IMSA PAC Facebook group can be viewed here. Regional rep. So again, I'd like to introduce Missy Graff. I'm so happy she's agreed to be a co-chair or be a coordinator of the regional reps. I think that's going to be something that'll help bring together good ideas for all the regions. So Missy, I'll let you speak on that.
Hey everybody, Missy again. Yes, I'm moving from co-chair of Friday Fest, although I will remain on the committee because I love Friday Fest. I was the regional rep for Region 7 this year, and although we haven't had any successful outings yet, we've tried a couple times, and it either conflicted with some senior activities or ended up we lost an I day. So we thought we were gonna have to be able to do a Wednesday, and then they took our I day away. So we're still trying, but yeah, I think this is great that this is the first time we're actually gonna have a chair for the regional reps. Kathy, the vice president, it rolls up to the vice president. But that's a lot for the vice president to also be the chair of the committee of these 9 different regions. In the past, when we were sophomores coming in, the only thing I remember, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, that we did was kind of a back to school picnic, trying to get everybody together and connected. And then obviously with the shutdown, we were trying to get our kids together or feel connected, try to get the sophomores connected. So we really talked about trying to do some more things. The wonderful Brittany Walker stepped in and did that wonderful Christmas lights thing. So when we were trying to see what we could do, you know, she connected people, which was great. But as regions, we know that somebody in Carbondale can't necessarily always come up to Chicago just to get together with IMSA families. So the regions are super important. And so we do want to make a little bit more emphasis on regional get-togethers. And so I will be connecting. If you were a regional rep, I will be connecting with you. And if you have any interest in either continuing or being a regional rep, and it doesn't have to be 1 person per region, it could be, you know, 3 people per region, because some of the regions are pretty big. And we could even split the regions up a little bit more. So we really, I mean, we've said it already in the meeting that, you know, we want to connect our kids, we want to connect as parents. And so one great way to do that is regionally. So if you, I think, is there another slide? Or was there?
Yeah, it should be.
Thanks. So if you guys would, you know, go to this form I do have the form from last year. So if you had said you were interested and like maybe we completely dropped the ball and didn't connect with you or nothing happened in your region, I will be reaching out to you. But anybody that would be interested in helping with any kind of get-togethers, whether you want to be a regional rep or just say, I can host something, please fill out the form and I will be getting in touch with you. We would love to have like a end of year gathering regionally, call it a picnic if you want, whatever. And then definitely we want something in like, say, July to meet the new incoming sophomores and get everybody together again before school starts. So we do need to work on this over the summer, but please, yeah, fill out the form, reach out to me. And I'm looking forward to getting some things going. So thank you. Thanks, Kathy.
Great, thank you, Missy. Again, I think the idea of having you coordinate that is just a really great idea. This is a map of the region, so you can see what zip code you're in, and I would encourage as many volunteers as possible for a region, because as Missy mentioned, some regions are pretty big and can really use help of a number of parents to bring some ideas to the table. Again, the regional map, that's all in if you need that. We do still had some open regions, Region 2 and Region 4. And as Missy mentioned, if you did volunteer and somehow didn't connect, please use the form that she mentioned to volunteer. She will be in contact with you. And I want to thank the 2021 regional reps for all the work that they did. I know that there were several meetings being held. Again, it was a difficult time to try to hold meetings, and a lot of good ideas were thrown around that we tried to do, and a lot of people were able to do certain things with their region. So I appreciate the effort of the regional representatives during such an extraordinary time. So thank you. Next we'll have Yulia, our CAC.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Kathy. My name is Yulia Houston. Those of you who do not know me, I am the coordinator of college and academic counseling. And every single month when I attend the PAC meeting, I always say that I absolutely love attending this meeting, and I really, truly mean it. So I'm already looking forward to next year when I will be sharing some news about real work that we do on campus, when it comes to college days where you really can take part in. But today, what I would like to do, I would like to share some highlights of the college admission process for the class of 2021. But before I do that, I want to make a couple of comments. So at the end of last year, our parents of rising seniors had so many questions, so many concerns, so many fears that I was probably answering my emails way into June. And so all of them came down to two big things, to two big questions. The question number one, will my child be penalized? So will my senior be penalized for not having grades for the second semester of junior year? That's the first question. And the second question was, what about younger students? So students, so every single year, IMSA admits probably in every class we would have between 5 and 6 students who came directly from a middle school. So how those students will be affected. So here are the answers to those two questions. To the both concerns were both fears did not materialize, if I can say that. So every single college on the common application or not on the common application asked question of every single high school, please describe your learning environment that took place at the end of 2020. So we use the statement that we prominently placed on our transcript for class of 2020, 2021, and 2022. So the statement is going to remain that. And the statement says that we had to move to an online platform in March of 2020, and all students received passes or pass or fail. Well, there was no fail, actually. There was a pass or incomplete for the second semester, and students had no choice in that. So that's the statement that we use to communicate our situation at IMSA. So guess what? As I told parents at the end of last year, we're not going to be alone, and we were not alone. So our students, IMSA students, as you can see from my slides later on, were not penalized at all for having passes rather than grades. And then the second fear, in terms of younger students who came from middle school, also did not come true. So we did not see any results in our admission process this year that will, that caused any kind of a, sense of alarm in us. So those things just came and left. However, there's one big fear on the college admission side that actually did come true. And so what colleges were anticipating, influx of college applications simply because every single college suspended the requirement for ACT and SAT, and the colleges were correct. So in one of the slides later on, you will see that on average, the number of applications increased at highly selective schools. And I want to emphasize that at highly selective schools, not let's say at Loyola University, but at Northwestern University by about 40%. So that did happen. All right, so let's just go now over IMSA statistics. And the next slide will give you a sense of most popular schools this year. And what I did, I compared side by side to last year. So this year we have 200 seniors. Last year we had 220 seniors, so a little bit more. So I'm not going to read anything back because all of you can read. And you can see there's some variations. So this is pretty typical. So on any given year, we would have a little bit variations in terms of the college, the most popular college list, but not too many. I want to emphasize also that every single slide I will share with you has to addresses admission results, not necessarily matriculation results. So I will not be talking about how many students will be attending, college A, B, C, or D, because those decisions are family decisions and they're based on various factors. So I will be sharing with you admission decisions for the class of 2021 in terms of how many applied, how many were admitted. So here are the numbers. We can go into the next slide. And this next slide is actually came about by parents' request. I used to never have this kind of a slide in my presentation, and I would do this presentation every year. And every year, a parent will say, well, what about Ivy? What about Ivy League schools? I said, okay, what about them? So let's see, what about them? So this slide is just for your personal enjoyment, for you to see, again, how many students applied, those in parentheses number, and how many students were admitted. So this year versus last year. So we can linger a little bit so you can see it, but since this section is being recorded, you can always get back to it. Now, on the next slide, this is the slide you always have. So this is a slide of other fine institutions because there are many more than just Ivy League schools. And you can see again, side-by-side comparison in terms of how many students applied and how many students were admitted. So as you can see, remember how I told you there were two fears on our parents' part, will my child be penalized for not having grades, and will my younger child be penalized even worse? They really did not come true. So our students were admitted in great numbers. They were read very carefully. They were celebrated celebrated by colleges. So we did not see any decline, so to speak, in our admission numbers. Now, the next slides will talk about just the senior class alone. Again, I want to compare it to the last class so you have some kind of a point of reference. So the first number of 18 refers to the number of applications that our seniors submitted to colleges that utilize what is called restrictive early action due date. And those are all the Ivy League schools. There's Stanford, there's Georgetown, University of Notre Dame. So this year we had 18 applications, so student can only apply early to that particular school. And then last year we had 22, but also remember last year's class was a little bit bigger. So it's pretty much the same. Now, early decision versus early decision 2. So early decision due date is on November 1. Early decision 2 due date usually is on December 1. And again, you can see the numbers are pretty similar. However, also keep in mind last year's class was slightly bigger by 20 students. So in that sense, students from class of 2021 applied to early decision schools in greater numbers in that sense. And this is early action. The next number is, so that would be students applying to colleges that allow students to apply to multiple schools simultaneously, like University of Chicago, Case Western Reserve University, all state schools, University of Michigan, they have an early action due date, which is usually November 1. So this year we had 607, last year we had 652. Now, the next figure is a little bit alarming, just because the students in the senior class this year submitted more applications per student than ever before. And I've been doing my job. I've been a college and academic counselor and coordinator of my office since 2003. We've never seen such large numbers. This year we have some students who apply to 24, 26 schools, which is very alarming because the student then cannot come across as a sincere applicant to so many colleges. But that's just reality, and that's what we have to deal with. The next slide, I'm going to go in details over University of Illinois Urbana. No, I think the next one should be yes, that's the one. So this is the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. And the reason why I have this slide is just because of the great number of applicants. So we had 158 students who applied, 146 were admitted, 3 were waitlisted, and 9 were denied. Out of those 9 who were denied, 4 students did not list the second major. So we beg our seniors every year to list 2 majors when they apply to University of Urbana-Champaign. Well, some of them don't listen. There's nothing we can do about that. So when a student applies to University of Urbana-Champaign, the student is read separately for both majors. So it's not like University of Urbana-Champaign is going to say, well, the student is not good enough for the first one, let's give him the second one. No, 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 no. The students are read for the first major, and only then they're read for the second major after the decision is made for the first major. So 4 of those 9 seniors did not list the second major. Like I said, there's nothing we can do about that. So the GPA, it's really not a GPA because, you know, we don't have a GPA because our students apply to colleges with 2 transcripts, the one pre-IMSA and then one from IMSA, but the grades student earned at IMSA, so this does not include their freshman year, ranged from between 2.6 and 3.1. So this is for the 9 students who were denied. And I gave you a sense of 3 most popular majors in terms of number of applications from IMSA. Clearly computer science clearly is number 1. Computer engineering, not as popular as computer science, and then bioengineering would be the next one. All right, so let's move on. So after that, we're going to talk about just in general. I already mentioned that. So I said that, remember how the number 9.7, so that's the number of applications that students submitted on average per student. So just kind of through the roof. So we've never had such a high number. And you can see that. So this is the number of students in the class of 2021 when it comes to submitting their applications to that particular college versus last year. But then remember, last year's class was much larger. So it's even more alarming that we had more students this year applying to highly selective schools, which made clearly competition more, more intense. So again, I'm not going to read anything. You can just see for yourself. And on the next slide, here we come to the fear on the college's part. Remember, I said the colleges said they were fearing they will be overwhelmed with the number of applications, and yes, indeed they were. And the reason for that was, like I said, because the colleges did not require SAT or ACT scores for admission. So everybody and their cat and a dog and a neighbor, everybody applied to colleges this year. And you can see that in a way in the admission results this year for us. So when I spoke with the Dean of Admission at MIT, and I usually have several phone conversations with Deans of Admissions before they release their decisions, just for us to get a sense of what's going on with our students. So the Dean of Admission from MIT told me that he is absolutely going crazy without the test scores. And the reason for that is so much of a student's success at the MIT is based on math aptitude rather than ability to write or leadership activities, that he did not know what to do. I mean, he said, I'm just hoping so much that we're going to get back into a normal world, so to speak, and require our testing. And then I said, well, you can always do that. And he said, well, not really, because the college admission process as a whole is has a little bit of a herding mentality. In other words, what one college is doing, then the next college needs to copy and do the same thing. And many of you probably saw that some of the colleges are already extending their invitation to students not to submit the SAT or ACT scores for next year. So I honestly don't know what's going to happen overall in the college admission world. So with the MIT, we had 0 admit students. Last year we had 3. With Caltech, we had 2 students who were admitted. Last year we had 5. And with Stanford, we had 1 student who was admitted. Last year we had 2. So Stanford clearly is not a big deal, but Caltech and MIT were a pretty big deal. All right. On the next slide, I put together a slide for you to get a sense of historical Black colleges and universities and Hispanic serving institutions. And so we have 11 seniors who applied to 4, and those are usually our 4 most popular ones. I think right now it looks like we have 1 student who will be attending Tuskegee University. It looks like it, although our students are still in the process of letting us know where they will be attending. And then 85 seniors applied to 13 Hispanic serving institutions. But I want to remind everybody why the number is so large. The number is so large because for an institution to be called Hispanic serving institution, it needs to enroll 25% with students who are of Hispanic background. And University of Illinois in Chicago happens to be in that category. And since I think the second slide, you saw that we had 80 applicants to University of Illinois in Chicago. So you can see that 80 of them applied to UIC, and then clearly some applied to other colleges, but that's why the number is so large. So when our students apply to HBCU schools, they really truly are seeking the environment of HBCUs. However, when our students apply to Hispanic serving institutions, sometimes it's not the case, because most of our applicants to University of Illinois in Chicago, as you all know, are interested in the guaranteed medical program that UIC offers. This is where the bulk of our applicants comes from. And then the very final slide, I wanted to end my presentation on kind of a little bit of a cute note. And this is so, despite the pandemic, despite the travel ban, despite anything, we had some students who still were reaching for the stars. So we had seniors applying all over the world. So we had 4 seniors to Canada, 3 to Australia, Ireland, United Kingdom, Germany, France. So that just tells you that despite of any kind of a pandemic, the seniors in the class of 2021, we're still audacious, we're still bold, we're still dreaming about taking a plane, even though there are no planes right now taking off, to Canada or Australia or Ireland, but they were very, very optimistic and hopeful. Out of all these numbers, it looks like we have 1 student who definitely will be attending university in Canada. It's my senior, and the rest of them are going to settle for a domestic university, so to speak. So that's it. So those are all my remarks. I really, really wanted to thank PAC for all of your support when it comes to the work of the CAC office. And since this year, we did not do much together because our biggest event was canceled, College Day. However, I'm so looking forward to coming to PAC meetings next year, once a month, and for us to partner in delivering the College Day, which is scheduled to run on April 24th, 2022, where you support us so graciously and so lavishly with your coupons for the breakfast coupons for all of our admission representatives. So thank you so very much. Thank you, Kathy, for the opportunity to speak today. I don't know if anybody would like to ask any questions, or if Kyle maybe can moderate some questions for me.
Someone did ask about a video of senior decisions. I actually believe there already is one. It was posted on our Facebook page at one point.
Yeah, so I send a link to a video to all seniors and senior parents that went out, and I think a couple days ago I sent a corrected link. There's something wrong with the previous link. So yes, all senior parents and senior students received the link, and they can watch the senior slideshow. We are, but thank you for kind of reminding me. We plan, the CAC office planned to spend a whole entire day of Friday, I think it's June 4th, with seniors on campus, and we have wonderful activities prepared for them. I don't want to talk about it because it's a little bit of a surprise. So, but we do plan to spend some time with our seniors, and like I said, we're planning some things to do with them that we normally do in a normal year in May, on May 27th. So we're going to do that on June 4th.
We do have another question. Someone was asking that if there's a possibility of more of a test standard, a test blind standard for this coming year as well, wouldn't that indicate that schools would be leaning more heavily on GPA as reported by schools?
Well, I mean, yes, so what happens when a school, well, it's not necessarily the GPA, because college is kind of a, they calculate their own GPA, so they're not go by the GPA that high school presents, but ability to write, ability to think, ability to process the world, the activities you were involved, how you handle the pandemic, that will be much more in play. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Anything else, Kyle?
No other questions in the chat right now that I see.
Anything else from you? Kathy?
Any other questions?
Just a couple comments I'll just put out there is that, like someone reported that their son is saying, remember that to look at Naviance. for parents, that Naviance has a lot more information. You know, that this is a lot of great information for parents, but if you get on Naviance, you'll see a lot more.
Yes, and so yes, absolutely. And we try to train our parents in sophomore year for them to use Naviance, because Naviance really truly gives you a sense of how well IMSA students do when it comes to the admission, because Naviance stores 3 years of admission data for every single college and university. Yes, absolutely. Please do use Naviance. Right now, we ask our seniors' parents to complete a senior parent questionnaire, and we really truly appreciate all the comments that we receive, because we, as a coordinator of the office, I'm always, you know, on the lookout to doing things better, to doing things more efficiently, to doing things more fairly. So we really ask you from the bottom of our hearts, please take, you know, 5 minutes, literally, it's like 5 to 10 minutes to complete the senior parent questionnaire. And I just sent an email again this morning reminding everybody. So thank you very, very much.
Sure. We have a couple more questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
Let's see. Someone is asking, so the information you had today was helpful, and that will be available for people who want to watch this video, but would there be a chance that the CAC could publish this kind of statistical information in another format, a PDF or something else that parents could go out to parents or?
Well, PAC can do whatever you guys want to do. If you want to put it in any kind of link, you're more than welcome to do it. Right. Yeah, you're free to do it, Kyle.
And then let's see, are universities that canceled standardized testing during the pandemic going to be going back to standardized test requirements for the incoming years? And do you know which ones will or won't?
Right. So I tried to answer this question. So right now, some colleges already said that they will extend this moratorium, so to speak, on standardized testing for the class of 2020 to some colleges, but not universally like last year. Last year, every single college said that. So I'm not sure. The colleges haven't come out yet to tell us what. Also, when it comes to the universities abroad, so kind of interesting point, the admission to universities abroad usually is based 100% on standardized testing from American high schools, because colleges, you know, University of Toronto cannot differentiate between, you know, Batavia High School and Oswego High School. So what happened with our students, they were rewarded handsomely with their admission decisions if they submitted standardized testing, because that's how foreign universities make their admission decisions. So that's one thing that probably will never go away. And also just looking at our juniors right now, I mean, there's the SATs and ACTs are not being canceled whatsoever. In fact, at IMSA, we already held an ACT in April and the SAT in May. I think it was last weekend, last Saturday, for IMSA students only. So we're not inviting, you know, everybody and their brother to take, but just IMSA students only. We are prepared to offer 6 tests next year during the school year, like we always do, 2 in ACT and then 4 in SAT. So we're not canceling anything when it comes to our portion. So let's just see how they will play out. Okay, well, thank you very much. Like I said, I don't want to hold any more time. You're free to do anything you want to do with this presentation, Kyle. If you want to put it in any kind of a PDF or something for parents to, you know, more than welcome. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Yulia. Thank you for all this information, and thank you for all what you and the CACs do for our students. Next slide. So next we have Pranav for the Student Council. Is Pranav here?
Yeah, hello parents. My name is Pranav Manoj. I'm currently a rising senior here at IMSA, and I also serve as the student bodies liaison to PAC. I have a few brief remarks for our last meeting here today. So to start off, as I'm sure many of you know, as we approach the end of our academic year together, student workload tends to increase, and elevated levels of stress are common among most students, especially when on campus. So we'd like to thank all of you for your unconditional solidarity and support during these times of especially unprecedented uncertainty. And we really ask that parents continue to advocate for their students both within and without IMSA. As the year winds down, I've thoroughly enjoyed representing the student voice here at PAC meetings. And I also sincerely appreciate your collective enthusiasm and willingness to pursue collaborative student-parent initiatives together. So I appreciate all of the work you've done and the work that we continue to do together. I'm looking forward to being back on campus with you all next year.
Great. Thank you so much. Any questions for our Student Council? Great, thank you. Next slide. Okay, Campus Activities Board.
I do not think Jalen was able to attend today. So
Okay.
move on.
All right, next we'll have Brittany Walker. Brittany's been really, really busy doing a lot of coordination of the senior week and campus activities. Brittany, turn it over to you.
Yes, sorry. I am here. I'm kind of doing two things. So fun story. We're actually getting some items for senior banquet. So I'm here with parents Robin Abend and Gabby Lima. So we're having fun times getting some shopping done. So I apologize for all of everything going on right now. I will say, if we go to the next slide. So some things, updates for seniors, yard sign update. So if you came to decision day, you were able to actually pick up your yard sign. So we're really happy to have gotten those out to a nice handful of people, a handful of students, I should say. And then the rest were shipped. If there's anything with shipping and receiving the yard signs, please let me know. I did have one parent say that the box was open when they arrived. So we were looking to see if we can replace that. And if there's any that, let me know if you haven't received it by the end of, I would say by the end of this upcoming week, because they went out last week. So depending on where you live, they may or may not have made it to you just yet. Let's see what else. As far as events, there's going to be some virtual events. So we want to make sure that students and parents have the opportunity to be celebrated, whether or not they're planning to return to senior week or not. So we are going to be at, we're going to have 2 online things. So look out for information on our senior recognition. Our senior class clubs will be doing a virtual senior recognition. So a link will come out for that. It will actually take place, hopefully you can hear me. It will actually take place at 2:30 p.m. So we are trying to capture some of our faculty and staff as well. It will be recorded and sent out for anyone who is unable to watch it at that time. And then prom on the porch. So this is something, it sounds kind of funny. Prom on the porch is an opportunity for students to have a prom at their own home involving their family. It will take place on a platform called Goose Chase. Goose Chase is like a scavenger hunt type tool that the students are very familiar with using this year. Again, sounds kind of strange. It turns out to be a really fun family event that will allow you to invite whomever you feel comfortable with at your home and having a prom with your students. So there's lots of steps, but the whole process will allow you to have a prom. And again, invite whomever you feel comfortable with to your home. Next slide, please. Oh, I had another. There it is. So virtual lock-in this coming Friday, May 21st from 6 p.m. until midnight, we will have a virtual lock-in. So imagine a typical lock-in, maybe in your school gym or, old CAF or something. But we will do this virtually, of course. So we have several artists and performers lined up every hour to have students participate in different things. Say hi, everybody. It's Gabby and Robin. But we will have performers coming in. There will be gift cards raffled off thanks to the Friday Fest committee that will be in between each performer for students who participate. Students are not required to attend. Students are not required to stay the entirety of the time. We're hoping that students, if you have the time to do so, that that your students come in, enjoy the entertainment. There's a singer-songwriter going to be there. There's going to be a slam poetry artist. Students will get a free digital caricature. They will also have the opportunity to get a free airbrush t-shirt or a college pennant for our seniors. Those will be mailed to your homes, already covered. So again, more information will come out, but please encourage your students to stop in at any point in time in that evening, again, from 6 p.m. until 12, long night. I don't know how I'm going to stay up through the whole thing, but I plan to be there all 6 hours. The next thing, senior banquet, which, sorry, I couldn't talk about a little bit earlier, but so much fun going to happen with our senior banquet. We're switching it to be an all outdoor event. It will be a Ravinia style event. So if anyone's familiar with Ravinia in the Chicago area, we're hoping to have you it's basically bring your own picnic, your own display, your own fun in your own area. We're going to be on the soccer field. Fun thing, we're having a live band. So parents, students alike will have an amazing time. And to add to it, there will be food trucks. So a variety of different foods for everyone to pick and choose from what they would like to have and delivered to you in a safe space, in a safe area. So what that means for us as far as budgets and things like that, Seniors, well, all seniors, all 200 seniors will be covered, whether you opt in or opt out. All seniors are invited to that event. More information will come out. And then there will be a cost per additional guest. The 2 to 3 guests for each senior will be charged $15 for the admission. And that includes like the entertainment and all, all the additional things. But then everyone will have to purchase their meals through the food truck. So we'll kind of word that to make sure that it's very clear to everyone. So again, seniors free, 2 to 3 guests are $15 each. And then there's going to be whatever you purchase at the food trucks. And we have a variety of meal options available from $5 and up. So more information will come out on that, but we're just hoping to kind of abide by as many guidelines as possible, make it safe, make it fun, entertaining, and celebratory for our seniors. And then the last thing on here is our Titan Tiki Trek. I'm super excited about this. So all these traditions that happen at EMSA, one of the biggest ones that the students love is luau. We're not going to take luau away. We're going to bring it to you. So we're going to be hitting up 3 different regions or 3 different locations. I think, and now this is from memory, but I believe we're going to Naperville, Crystal Lake, and Peoria. Don't quote me on it, but those are like the general areas of where we're planning to go. And we will bring the party to you. We'll bring the luau to you on our Titan Tiki Trek. So more information will come out with that. Those will begin at 6 or 7 p.m. and go until 10, because we are also, in addition to having like some fun luau games and things like that, we will have a movie on the lawn. So again, more information will be coming out on the specifics of that. The dates that have been selected are Memorial Day weekend. So we know that many people probably have plans. So we're gonna get the information out to you, but it's going to be the Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday leading up to Memorial Day. Those specific dates, the locations, even the movie that we're selecting will all be sent to everybody via email. That was a lot. I'm sorry. Any questions?
Any questions for Brittany? Brittany, if you could bottle that energy up, please give me some.
It's the rain. The rain is energizing. I don't know.
I really wish you could. That's a lot, and that's amazing. You've just done an amazing job. Any questions? Okay.
Someone was asking, is that Tiki Trek for all students or is it just for seniors?
Oh, no, thank you for asking. No, that is a IMSA community event. So I expect to have my colleagues there, faculty, parents, students, bring your aunties, uncles, whoever you want to have. We will be at a park in those locations enjoying luau and hopefully not rain.
Yeah, that's a key. I should also mention with the senior banquet, we mentioned the Ravinia style, but there is no alcohol. I think I just want to point that out.
Thank you for doing
Why
that.
am I thinking about that? I don't know.
Kathy, there was a slide that we skipped about senior banquet. Is this a good time for Brittany to talk about that slide?
Yeah, she just talked about it.
I hit all the points. I did it all from memory, but no, I hit all the points. The main takeaways is all seniors will be invited, whether or not you opted in or out, because all seniors would have been tested earlier in the day because of the senior, graduation. Oh, sorry. Because of the graduation rehearsal. And then, like I said, parents will be able to come. We're parking in the west parking lot and going directly to the soccer field. So there will be no access to like the main building. There are bathrooms over in that area, but they're gaining everybody to one space. Seniors will be free, $15 for 2 to 3 guests. Oh, a link will be coming out. 2 links will come out. One will come out for volunteers of sophomore and junior parents only to help with senior banquet. And then another will come out for the payment option of actually getting your tickets for the guests of each of our seniors.
Great.
And so a question asked, this sounds like it's casual dress then, is that correct?
It's casual. Right?
Too casual. So like business casual, not business casual, that's the wrong term. Fancy casual? I don't know how to explain it. It's a picnic. So yes, dress however you'd like to. There'll be food trucks, there'll be a band, there'll be fun. It'll be a good time.
All right, thank you, Brittany, again for that. And there'll be more details on that event following up in the next few days.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany. Next slide, is that, have we covered? Okay, how about Brooke for the IMSA faculty's science department.
Hi, my name is Brooke Schmidt. I teach physics at IMSA. I'm also the IMSA Council Vice President. And I just wanted to say thank you for having me this morning. It's always great to hear like the parent perspective here. And I also wanted to thank everybody on behalf of the council for all the teacher appreciation gifts. I heard a number, from all the teachers, including the RCs as well. Thank you for doing that for us. We also appreciate all the hard work from the students throughout the year. Obviously, it's not ideal working in the remote learning environment, and we appreciate all the students staying engaged through the end of the year. As we come to the end of the year, as Pranav said, there are, end of the year projects and assessments that are going on. And in addition to all the review sessions and the study sessions, I would just encourage the students to reach out to your teachers, to go to the office hours for individual help, or if assignments are piling up, to make sure to communicate with your teachers. And so we do want to work with the students to make sure that we have the best possible end of the year here. As far as the summer goes, Maria asked me to just give like some ideas. I know so far the English team will be sending out a summer reading list for incoming sophomores. And we would just like to encourage the students, take a break from this year from academics, pursue other interests that they have. This could be research opportunities, internship opportunities, a summer job, a chance to pursue their hobbies and other things that they're doing. If there's anything specific that they would like as far as academics, again, please reach out to us and we're happy to provide those. As far as the fall is going, we're working with management to make sure that we can have a full and safe reopening in the fall. Both myself and Michael Hancock, the IMSA Council President, are serving on the Return to Learn and Work Committee to provide input as we put together that plan for the fall. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to take those. Otherwise, we just are looking forward to finishing the year strong, making sure our students are successful this year.
Any questions for Brooke? Well, thank you, Brooke, for that, that update. Next slide. Next, we have Dana for Student Affairs. Dana?
Hello, everyone. It's wonderful to be here with you today. Katie Berger could not be present, but she sends her kindest regards. I'd just like to start by giving my sincerest thanks to all of our outgoing PAC board members and committee chairs, and a big, huge welcome and congratulations to our incoming board members and committee chairs. And I also want to say thank you so much, again, as Brooke had just mentioned, thank you so much for the gift cards. That was a wonderful surprise, very appreciated. And I want to just extend my thanks to you all. So I have some updates with regards to student engagement and leadership. During the 2020-2021 academic school year, students were able to participate in 12 co-curricular activities that were competition-based, 58 clubs that were student-led, and 20 different programs that were department-led, all conducted virtually. We had a very large portion of our student population participate in something, with students serving as leaders and extracurricular, and 84.7% were in general group members as part of some of those activities. So a very large portion. That was wonderful. For leadership education, the lead capstone event for sophomores, the Student Leadership Exchange, was held on Wednesday, the 28th of April. We had 36 student facilitators and there were 72 student projects that were presented, all related to solving a United Nations Sustainable Development Goal. You can find all of those actually on Digital Commons if you'd like to review. For summer orientation, the class of 2024 will be invited to participate in one live synchronous Zoom session and provided with a series of videos and resources to be reviewed asynchronously. From a residence life and housing standpoint, beginning in the 2021-2022 academic year, IMSA will offer 2 female-only residence halls, 2 male-only residence halls, and 3 co-ed halls. The 3 co-ed halls will function very similarly to 1501 for those of you who are familiar, which will mean that 2 wings will be exclusively female, 2 wings exclusively male, with stop alarms and an extra video camera on the bridge. Housing forms did go out this past week. The housing forms need to be completed by May 19th, and our hope is to release those housing assignments by May 26th. Emails did get sent out to all of our students as well as to our parents so that you all can weigh in and have those conversations with students prior to them submitting. For student health services, our health office team expanded to include 2 temporary employees to support COVID-19 testing for employees, and they're using the Binex Now rapid antigen detection tests that were obtained from the Illinois Department of Public Health. Service learning, just as a reminder for all members of the classes of 2022 and 2023, they will not be required to comply with service learning hour category limitations. So they will no longer have to determine a certain number of internal versus external hours. And this is due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It was very successful for our graduating class of 2021 to lift that restriction, but the 200-hour service graduation requirement is still in place. You already heard from student activities. It's unbelievable all that Brittany has been doing for us this past academic year. Kudos to her. We're looking forward to senior week. And then I do want to also make mention that the National Federation of High Schools will be installing a Pixelot camera system in our main gym in July. And this will be very, very helpful for athletics and co-curricular activities that will be, taped so that everybody can view them live streamed, which will be very helpful. And then finally, from counseling, our school counselors continue to provide virtual counseling sessions to all IMSA students. We know that even though there's only 2 weeks left of the semester, please encourage any students that might need to speak to a counselor about various reasons to please reach out to them. Kevin Kuzi did complete the trainer certification for mental health first aid, and he has concluded the academic year having trained 70+ staff members. So we're very happy about that. So I know that was a lot in a short period of time, but thank you so much. That's all I've got.
Great, thank you, Dana. Any questions for Dana, Student Affairs?
There was a question about whether there's going to be any kind of questions about whether a student has a preference or concern over, having a vaccinated or unvaccinated roommate, as since that is coming up now.
No, that's a great question. And as a matter of fact, I did, we're working on the Return to Learn and Work Committee. And that was a question that was brought up at our most recent meeting. And that's a question that we definitely need to get answered. So I don't have an answer for you yet, but we know that that's a parent concern. And that is one of our highest priorities to get that answer for you.
Okay, and another question, the camera that you talked about in the gym, would that be able to live stream all events, concerts, performances, meetings, et cetera, anything?
That's a great question. However, it's going to be set up in the main gym. So if things aren't going to be happening in the main gym, my understanding, because I'm going off of a short blurb here, is that it's really directed at the main gym and the events that take place in that space.
Great, thank you, Dana.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, next we'll have an update from the principal's office, Dr. Comfort.
All right. Hi, everyone. First of all, I just want to say thank you for everything that you do. Partnering with parents and families to provide a supportive learning environment and opportunities for our students is a priority for us. And I thank you all for continuing to partner with us and to help make that a reality. I'm going to touch on some things really quick, and then I'll answer some questions. So you've already heard a lot about the Return to Learning and Work Committee. I just want to reiterate the fact that we have been working on returning in the fall. We are meeting weekly to collaboratively plan set goals, document, and then monitor our progress towards those goals and to help us remain on target. Thanks to Maria and Kyle, of course, they're on that committee. And then this, I also want to say, we have every intention for in-person learning to happen this fall with a start date of August 23rd. We have academic calendars on the website. My senior admin assistant, Ms. Martinez, is actually here on the call. She made sure that we have those calendars on the website. So it tells you different dates when different things are going to be happening. So I think she's going to put the link in the chat here for you in case, that will make it easier for you to access. So whether if you could put that link somewhere on the chart, that would be fantastic. Again, we're fully committed to returning in the fall in person and working with the subcommittee. You've already heard about that. Union negotiations are going on. We're meeting weekly. We're currently working on impact bargaining to return to learn and work in the fall. We mentioned that we have an air quality study that's actually going on, that management has going on to basically ascertain any deficiencies in the air quality. If any deficiencies are identified, they will be addressed appropriately. So things such as HEPA filters and so on and so forth. So we will share a report with you all. We'll communicate that at the end of the month because that's when that will be completed. We are really working on making sure that we're communicating with you periodically and regularly. We want to keep you updated, but also as that you at the same time allow us time to do the work. So that would be appreciated. I am excited to have Ms. Martinez share with you some updates on graduation, and then I'll take some questions. Ms. Martinez, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the PAC for working with us all year. Moju, Kathleen, and Miss Lima. It's been a pleasure, and I am glad to be of help of any time that I can. And thank you to the overall PAC for always working with our parents and students, faculty, staff. For graduation, we are working with Northern Illinois University. They are continually in contact with our office, making sure that they're adhering to all of the guidelines and regulations placed by the state.
Murta, excuse me, can you turn your volume up? Some of our parents online can't hear very well. Thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
Can you hear me better now? Or is this better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, sorry about that. So I'll just reiterate, we've been working with Northern Illinois University early on, just, with all options. At one point, we didn't think we were going to have an in-person graduation, and then it came where we've been taking baby steps, but all throughout, they've been in constant contact with us, adhering to all of the guidelines set forth by the state of Illinois. So we have been assured that everything is in place for a safe graduation ceremony. So students will be on the main floor, safe distance apart. We are not duplicating rows. We will not have any crossovers. So graduation may take a little bit longer, but we want to make sure that we are creating this safe environment and making it as special as we can, but also ensure that we're recognizing every single student. For those families that have opted out, we will be recognizing every single student. So a mailing was sent out, all tickets were sent out this week to all parents, as well as those who will not be coming to participate. They have received a letter on the instructions on how to supply us. There's a drop box for digital pictures to be sent there, to be dropped in there. And then on the Jumbotron, we will be recognizing the students who are not there. So we want to ensure that this is a collective experience for everyone. Everyone will be recognized in a safe manner. there is a contingency plan should something happen and the guidelines, we start to regress, things we can't meet in person, then we will be outside in the stadium. So regardless of what happens, unless there's something huge, we will have an in-person ceremony. At this point, it's still indoors, following all guidelines. The letters to all the senior parents dictate what can be brought into the venue, what cannot be brought into the venue. And then NIU has asked us to communicate to all parents that there will be no pictures inside the venue. There's no gathering inside the venue or outside the venue. So as students proceed out of the venue, they should go directly to their vehicles, and parents as well via the other exit. So once the students will go out one end and the parents will go out the other end as they entered. Were there any questions?
There was a question if you know or have an estimate as to how long you think the graduation ceremony will take. Do you think it will be the traditional length of time, and if so, what is that?
Yeah, this is my first graduation, so this has been very exciting for me to work on this and senior week with Brittany. But they said an hour and a half. We're anticipating an hour and a half, but from those faculty and staff that we've spoken to, they said it may be 2 hours based on the information of how we will be processing the students in, and then we will be individually going by rows instead of having 2 rows cross over one big line, or 2 sections cross over one big line. We'll be making smaller sections that'll proceed up. So maybe I would say no more than 2 hours. The other thing is that the students the buses will leave, for those students on campus, will leave sharply at 11:30 a.m. and there will not be a bus returning back. So all students will leave with their parents from NIU, unless, I know Dana had made a comment earlier, so I don't know if that about students from down south. So I don't know if that's a different scenario for those students, but my understanding was that all students would leave NIU with their parents.
Okay, and another question, a parent was asking about the no pictures. Can you clarify, are parents allowed to take pictures,
Yes.
video or still shots during the ceremony itself?
Thank you for asking. Yes, absolutely. So you can take your cameras in, video cameras, shoot the pictures, but you cannot, no one can remain in the venue to take pictures, unfortunately. And I did ask, well, outside, if they spread out, can they take pictures? And the answer was no at this time, based on the restrictions that they have received for NIU.
Can I, do you mind if I chime in really quick?
Sure.
All of our parents are going to be picking up their children from IMSA. You are able to take some pictures. Of course, physical distancing is going to be necessary, so on and so forth. But if you want to take some pictures at IMSA, please feel free.
At IMSA, yes, but NIU has restrictions on that day. Yep. So I think Brittany was going to work on maybe senior night, something to have some special sections in order for you to do that.
Great, thank you.
Someone else was asking a clarification of the bag rule relative to size of bags.
I'd have to look up that information, but I am going to send out an email just reiterating all the information. But it was a clear bag. They said no more than 20 ounces of water in that bag, and preferably no cards, no signs, no balloons. But I thought it said like a pocketbook size, and then no more than a 20-ounce bottle of water. And that was the least of it, but no larger bags at all.
Any additional questions?
Not about graduation. There was a question about another topic for Dr. Kwajay Anderson, if she's able to answer that. Someone was asking about state law requires that all students be granted a free SAT before graduation. That hasn't happened for current juniors. Is there plans to offer that at IMSA for students?
Yes, I believe I answered that question previously. So because of COVID, there are things that we were not able to do. And I think Julia also addressed that. So yes, when we go back to campus, we're going to do our very best, of course, continuing to depend on what ACT, SAT, and all those organizations are doing. We will make sure that we follow whatever guidelines we have followed in the past. And I will make sure that Ulia sends out information. If that's not already on the slides that she shared before, we'll make sure we include that information, but I think she also addressed that. So yes. I hope that answered your question.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you for that update. Next slide. Oh, is there additional information you'd like to speak to, Dr. Comfort?
No, I just wondered if there were any other questions. All right.
Great, thank you. Well, this slide just, it gives you information on questions to contact the PAC. The PAC's, you can send an email to this address. Full list of the leadership team is on our website. Parent resources on the IMSA website. There's a link for that. And the IMSA staff directory is also on the website. And then here's a slide that gives you information on various contacts for various questions regarding mental health, questions regarding graduation, any question obviously regarding the senior week prom, that Brittany's your contact there, ACT, AP tests, and then lastly, any information regarding questions about the incoming IMSA president, contact Minerva. And then we still would like to ask for you to consider getting involved with PAC next year. There's so many different committees, as you've heard them present. There's a lot of fun people working together, all to just better IMSA and make IMSA continue to be the great school and institution that it is. So I would ask that you do try to volunteer, and there are forms that you can fill out here. And then we will respond to those forms as often as we can, no less than on a monthly basis. And I think that's it. We're running kind of over, but I did want to give a few moments for additional questions. Kyle, do we have any?
I do not see any additional ones in the chat right now.
Great. Well, thank you all. I'm not sure if Maria, if she wanted to come back on and make any additional comments. Okay. Well, great. Thank you all for attending this this meeting, the last meeting for PAC this year, and we will all be in touch. Thanks again. Take care, everybody.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a great summer.